If you have already passed the age of 60, you have probably experienced very quiet moments when your heart felt heavy. Not because you lacked people around you, but because it felt like no one truly understood what you were carrying inside. Questions about the meaning of life, about loved ones who have passed away, and about the road ahead sometimes come very softly, yet they can still keep you awake through the entire night. Many older adults share that what saddens them most is not aging itself, but the feeling of slowly becoming invisible in this world. But if you are listening to these words right now, there is something very important you need to know. You have never truly been alone. Today's story is a real near-death experience, told by someone who came very close to the line between life and death. This story is not meant to frighten you, but to remind you that there is always a gentle presence watching over you, even in the moments when you feel the most vulnerable. If these words touch your heart, you can press the like button to help spread this message to those who may need comfort. And if you think someone you know also needs to hear this story, please share it with them. If you would like to continue walking alongside stories of healing like this one, you can subscribe to the channel so we can move forward together on this gentle journey. And now, let us listen to the first story, a message meant especially for hearts that have traveled through many seasons of life. The person in today's story is James Miller, 72 years old, living in a quiet small town in the state of Ohio in the United States. He is an ordinary man who worked for more than 30 years at a local machine shop, accustomed to a steady and simple rhythm of life. After retiring, James's life slowed down significantly, so much so that at times he felt left behind by the flow of the world. His wife passed away 4 years earlier after a serious illness. His 2 children are grown and moved to other states to build their own lives. Phone calls became less frequent, and family gatherings became fewer. James does not blame his children, but during long afternoons, when the house feels too quiet, he often sits alone by the window, looking out at the small garden in front of his home and wondering whether his presence still truly matters to anyone. James's health began to decline with the passing years. Fatigue came more often, his heartbeat sometimes became irregular, but he chose to stay silent, not wanting to burden anyone. For him, what felt most frightening was not illness itself, but the sense of slowly becoming invisible, quietly existing within his own life. It was in this state, while James was living days that seemed ordinary on the surface, but empty inside, that an unexpected event occurred, a moment that completely changed how he viewed life, aging, and the meaning of existence. One autumn morning in 2019, as the weather in Ohio began to turn cool, James woke up as he did every day. He made himself a cup of coffee, opened the window to let in some fresh air, and then sat down in his familiar chair in the living room. Everything felt so normal that there was no sign at all that his life was about to take a different turn. When he stood up to get his jacket, James suddenly felt a light wave of dizziness. His heart began to race and beat unevenly, and his breathing grew heavy. He tried to calm himself, thinking it was just a brief spell of tiredness that comes with old age. But only seconds later, a tight pain spread across his chest, forcing him to grip the table to stay upright. What came next was not sharp pain, but a rapid loss of strength, as if his energy were leaving his body all at once. His vision began to fade, and the sounds around him grew distant. James thought of his wife, of his 2 children, and then a very clear thought entered his mind. I might be dying. He collapsed silently onto the floor. There was no one beside him, no voice calling for help. According to medical records later on, James went into cardiac arrest for several minutes before a neighbor discovered him and called emergency services. In that moment, the boundary between life and death became thinner than ever, and it was right there, at that fragile crossing, that something extraordinary began. James later shared that the instant everything went dark, he no longer felt pain or fear. Instead, there was a feeling of lightness, as if the heavy body he had carried for so many years had finally been set down. He felt as though he was leaving his physical body, looking back at the room where he had just fallen, yet everything unfolded in a strange and peaceful calm. Then James felt a warm light surrounding him. It was not bright or blinding, but gentle, like the early morning sun. In that moment, He felt completely understood, without judgment, without blame, without questions. There was only a loving presence, one that made him realize he had never truly been abandoned, even during his loneliest years. James did not hear words as sound, but a very clear message echoed in his mind. You were never alone. Your life still has meaning. It was not a command, but a gentle reminder, as if someone were placing a hand on his shoulder, reassuring him that everything he had feared was not entirely true. During this experience, James also saw important moments from his life, not great achievements, but times when he had been kind to others, moments when he had loved quietly and without recognition. What moved him most was realizing that it was these small things that truly mattered and were remembered. According to doctors later on, James's experience aligned with many documented cases studied under what is known as near-death experiences. These studies have been gathered by respected organizations such as the International Association for Near-Death Studies, which has collected and compared thousands of similar accounts over many decades. When James was brought back to life, what stayed with him most strongly was not the light or the images, but a deep sense that his life was still seen, still valued, and still meaningful, even at the age of 72. James woke up in the emergency room of a local hospital in Ohio. The white lights, the steady sounds of machines, and the heavy feeling in his body told him that he had returned. A doctor stood beside his bed and explained that he had experienced a brief cardiac arrest, and that being found in time had saved his life. James listened quietly, but his mind still lingered on the warmth he had just felt. In the days that followed as he recovered, James noticed a clear change within himself. He no longer felt empty the way he once had. Each morning he woke up, even though his body was still weak. He felt grateful to open his eyes to the light, to breathe, and to exist for one more day. James began calling his children more often, not to complain, but to listen. He took the initiative to invite neighbors over for tea, sharing small, everyday stories. He no longer saw old age as a burden, but as a slower season of life, a time to live more deeply. The greatest change was how James viewed himself. He no longer believed that a person's worth depended on how much they could still do, but on how much they could still love and be present for others. His near-death experience did not make him fear death more, but helped him appreciate life with a calm and peaceful acceptance. James's story is not a miracle meant to prove anything supernatural. It is a gentle reminder for all of us, especially those who have already passed more than half of their lives. At a certain age, it becomes easy to believe that our value is fading, that the world no longer needs our presence. But James's experience shows the opposite. Every person is seen and acknowledged, even when they feel at their smallest. If you are listening to this story and see parts of yourself in James, longer afternoons, more silence, unanswered questions, remember that your presence still matters. Old age is not a meaningless ending, but a slower chapter, one where we can love more deeply and live more honestly with ourselves. You may have lost someone you love, or you may be worried about the road ahead. But if you are still here, still listening, that alone is proof that your life is continuing and is still worth cherishing each day. If this story brings you even a small sense of peace, please press the like button to help this message reach others who may need comfort just like you. If you think someone in your life also needs to hear these words, please share this video so they know they are not alone. And if you would like to continue walking alongside gentle, healing stories like this one, you can subscribe to the channel so we can move forward together through the rest of life's journey, slowly, peacefully, and with meaning.